All right, the Miami Heat trail the Boston Celtics 3-1, and it is not looking good for our Miami Heat. I want to know what your one word is surrounding the Miami Heat. Is it cooked? Is it devastating? Whatever you want to say the Miami Heat are, give me the one word down below. Mine might be cooked, but I want to hear yours right now. All right, I'm Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. On today's show, we are talking about the latest Miami Heat injury news between Jaime Jaquez Jr., Terry Rozier, and then on the back half of today's show, we're talking about if the Heat are, in fact, cooked, like I kind of just mentioned off the top. But we do have to start with this, coming from Barry Jackson. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is ruled out for Wednesday night's Game 5 against the Boston Celtics. The Heat will be missing Butler. Terry Rozier is ruled out again as well. Duncan Robinson is technically available, but as you saw in Game 4, he played 3 minutes off the bench, and that back injury is just really lingering on Duncan. He is basically not even, he's a skeleton out there of his former self. Obviously, Josh Richardson is out as well, so the Heat are going to be even more shorthanded on Wednesday night's game. But it was fascinating to see Jaime leave on Monday against Boston, and he actually said he felt something while coming down for a rebound around his hip. He said he tried to return, but it was really bothering him. He's never had an injury in the hip area, so he would see how he feels tomorrow. This was last night. Obviously, he's not going to play on Wednesday, which honestly is kind of the right decision if you think about it. The Heat are down 3-1. Jaime Jaquez Jr. is not going to make a difference in the Heat coming back to 3-1 or getting beaten in 5 games. Maybe I'm just too pessimistic right now, but that's kind of how I feel. I did want to talk about the injury to Jaquez, though, because I don't want this to be anything serious long-term for the outstanding rookie from UCLA. Jaime, on his injury last night, was asked about it. He said, just my right hip, felt something give a bit at the beginning of the second quarter, going up for a rebound. And it is a hip injury, but I do want to flash back to what happened in January because Triple J missed some time due to a groin injury in January. And that kind of felt like the beginning of Jaquez's downfall in his rookie year. You remember what he did in October, November, December. I mean, this dude looked like someone who was going to be first-team all-rookie without a doubt, and he looked like one of the most promising rookies in the NBA and was second and third in Rookie of the Year voting, and then had that groin injury in January, was out for some time, came back, and really just never looked like himself. Started to play well at the end of the season, once again, into the play-in, and then had a couple decent playoff games, but is now likely out for the year. Show some love to the Rook, though, because assuming he is not going to play in another game for Miami this season, and honestly, if you look ahead to the offseason, could have played his last game in a Heat uniform. I still want to show him some love. Spam your Triple J's down in the comment section for the rookie of UCLA. All right, I do want to go back to Terry Rozier because he is out again with that neck injury, and I got to be honest, I just don't know what happened, man. Like, he has now been out for 3 weeks and change. He was questionable in the second-to-last regular season game for Miami against the Raptors. A game-time decision is what he was actually listed as. Did not play. I've stated that I thought that was just them being cautious so that he could return for the play-in games, but here we are still 2 weeks later from that point. Like, I don't know where the neck injury happened. It did not happen in a game. It just came out of nowhere, and next thing you know, Terry's never playing again. Like, I hope he's okay for the long term in his basketball future, but I just do not understand how you can go from, yeah, I'll be fine, we're just being cautious, to not playing for 3.5 weeks. Like, I don't think it's one of those situations where he doesn't want to play. I know some of you have said that in the comment section. I don't think that's the case. If he could play, he would be out there. But I am concerned with how serious this possibly is because the Heat have been so mum on the word and they don't want to give us a legit update. They just keep listing them as out, out, out. I would be more okay with this situation if they just said 3 weeks ago, yeah, Rozier's out for 3 to 4 weeks. I'd be okay with that. But for them constantly stringing us along, Spo saying we're treating Rozier day to day, Barry Jackson saying he's week to week, Like, they're giving us hope for no reason because it's obvious that Terry is never coming back. Even if the Heat pull off a crazy miracle upset and beat the Celtics in 7, I still wouldn't even expect Terry to return at this point. Well, you guys need to get started, if you haven't already, with Prize Picks. The Heat season may be coming to a close, but you can still have a lot of fun watching basketball with Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. Join more than 3 million members playing on a daily basis. It is the easiest and most simple way to play daily fantasy sports. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stat projections. You can cross sports between hockey, MLB, NBA, League of Legends. They have it all. And during the NBA postseason, they have deals like Flex Friday, Taco Tuesday. If you're watching on Today Is Today, you see some of my selections and examples of picks you can make. Less than on Josh Hart, 12 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey, more than on a discounted 21.5 points. More than on James Harden, discounted 17.5 points for Wednesday's game against the Mavericks. That one is not today, but you can still take it for Wednesday. They have daily specials that are for new users, returning users alike, and they are offering you a special deal with code CLNS when you download the app, or go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. They're giving you a first deposit match up to $100. Join me, Stephen A. Smith, Sugar Sean O'Malley, Meek Mill, and millions of others playing Prize Picks on a daily basis. It's daily fantasy made easy and fun. Link will be in the description and comments of today's video. All right, now I want to talk about, are the Heat finished? And specifically the build that this Heat team has been under the past couple of seasons, because it's just a tall task to come back from 3-1, and unfortunate to state this out loud and to the public, but it's just unrealistic to have any belief that this current Heat roster, with all the injuries they are facing, can come back from a 3-1 deficit. That's why I said prior to Game 4 that was a must-win, and if you joined us for our live show, which if you didn't, you're missing out, I also said it was a must-win because this roster that Miami is currently throwing out there on a daily basis doesn't have the firepower or talent to come back from a 3-1 deficit. You look at the series so far, and this is the part that I wanted to know, and it is so frustrating. You lost Game 1 by 20, 114-94. You come back and win Game 2 behind a miracle shooting performance of the ages to win by 10, and then you lost the last 2 by 20 and 14. But the part that I want to specifically know, and if you remember in our real one at the channel that was with us for the Nuggets series a year ago, basically, for the NBA Finals, what was something I was always talking about? Your defense has been terrific, but you can't score the basketball. It's an absolute joke what I have to watch out there. And I get it. They're undermanned. They're undergunned. They don't have the talent that Boston has. But to not be able to score 40 points and a half of basketball in the year of 2024 is an absolute joke. It is. And the fact that we have now had back-to-back games where the Heat have scored 12 points. 12 points in a quarter? What? Like the first quarter of Game 3 and the second quarter of Game 4. How do you score 12 points in 12 minutes as an NBA basketball team? I don't care. I would trust the Detroit Pistons, the worst team in the NBA, to go out there and score more than 12 points in a quarter. That is unbelievable. And you mentioned the defense that I just talked about. Like, you're giving up to one of the most high-powered, best offenses in the NBA that people said had 5 all-star caliber type players in their starting lineup. You're allowing them to only score just around 100 points. Sure, Game 1 was bad. You gave up 114. But think about the last 3. 101, 104, 102. If you would have told me that was what they were going to score in 3 consecutive games, I would have told you Miami would have won all 3. You hold Boston under 105 points, you win that game. But you can't score the basketball. And it's just disgusting to watch. You're missing wide open threes. Game 3, the Celtics defense clamped down on you. Game 4, you were getting wide open looks, and you just missed every single one of them. It was unbelievable. But we aren't going anywhere. I'll be here for the good, the bad, and the ugly, which has really been the last 2 games. We're very close to 11,000 subscribers. I'd like to get there before we end the season. Hit that sub button. And if you haven't already, join us for our watch parties against the Celtics. We could only have one more left. Last ride, potentially Wednesday evening. Well, if you couldn't tell how I feel about this Miami Heat basketball team right now, I'm not going to try to lift your spirits up, Because full transparency, I just don't know where the offense come from if you want to have any chance of winning Game 5 and extending the series when you're this shorthanded. I mean, like I mentioned, like Jaime Jaquez Jr. isn't going to be the needle mover. Like, he's not giving you 25 points and allowing you to get over 110 points for the second time in the series. But when you have to rely on a starting lineup of Hero, Caleb Martin, likely Haywood Highsmith, Jovic, and Bam, like, that just is not going to go as planned. And I made a joke to my friends, like, if the Heat could barely get to 90 points with Jaime Jaquez Jr., are they even going to get to 80 points on Wednesday? Are we going out that sad? In Boston, closeout game, they're going to be amped up trying to eliminate us and get revenge because we eliminated them on their home court in Game 7 last year. Like, it's going to get ugly on Wednesday. But if you want any chance, I think you have to unleash Nikola Jovic. And when I mean unleash, I mean he's got to play 35 minutes. Unless he is physically unable to do so or he is in foul trouble, stop with the crap of him playing 20 to 24 minutes. Play him 30 plus. He's talented. He's got good size at 6'10", 6'11". He can handle the ball. He can shoot 35 plus, 38% from three. Shot 40% in the regular season. Hasn't shot that in the postseason. If you want any chance of winning this game, I think you have to run the offense through Hero, Jovic, and Bam, and let Jovic make a lot of decisions. Unless he doesn't feel comfortable handling the rock and Eric Spoelstra doesn't, then I guess not. But if I was Coach Spo, I'm letting Jovic make decisions and bring the ball up the floor and let Tyler Hero play off ball because he has proven that with the ball in his hands for 35 minutes plus, he just cannot do it consistently. Gave you game 2, but that's about it. That'll do it for today's video. Make sure you have followed me on Twitter if you haven't already, at Nic_Rohloff. I tweet about the Miami Heat on a daily basis. And for example, we came out with a video detailing the Heat's injury report with Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Terry Rozier. If you followed me on Twitter, you would have known about that prior to watching today's video, so it's a good combination to have. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, because you'll get the news first on the Twitter and then in-depth analysis and a breakdown on this channel. I'll see you tomorrow for a watch party against the Celtics. Go Heat.